already covered most of the weapons that you can find in DLC. We have made several builds for them. So how did the base weapons perform compared to the weapons that you can find in DLC? More often than not, most of the cases, most of the meta weapons that you would be able to find in the base game, which are builds that we have already published here in the channel, they are still much better than most of the weapons that you can find in DLC. That being said, there's also the cool niche weapons that a lot of people forget about them because they don't seem to be as powerful, but they are just cool, very, very cool weapons to have. And this one specifically, oh boy, this is one of my favorites. This is one of the, perhaps the most, the coolest looking katana in the entirety of the game. There's very, very cool katanas on the base game, on Elden Ring, like there's Moonveil, but this one got forgotten quite completely on launch of the game, and then prior to that, because of how underpowered it felt. This one got buffed on patch 109, if my memory serves me well. I don't remember which patch buffed it, but they buffed it, and it's an amazing weapon that I have been using on a run, bosses killing spree on a DLC, and it's just tremendously, tremendously fun. So what are the traits of this weapon? The Ash of War has this electric damage portion that is very, very high damaging, and once you use the Ash of War, the weapon gets imbued. It gets imbued with lightning. And the lightning imbuements that you get out of this, because of the buff, it used to be just like 80 prior to patch, which was like nothing that special, it was nothing good, but now it's 160, like you're literally getting 160 AR, extra AR damage on that cast, and it lasts for a very, very long time. On top of that, while the weapon is imbued with lightning, which it should always be all throughout the battle, it also deals frostbite, which is, in my opinion, the second best status ailment in the entirety of the game, the first being bleeding. So you have a very, very cool looking katana, that it has a very, very straightforward build, that it has lots and lots of damage. The Ash of War, it just deals tremendous amounts of damage, and that Ash of War is going to increase the native AR damage of the weapon, and it's very, very fast attacking weapon, because it's a light katana. So it's very, very fast attacking, and it mails enemies' bosses because you have lots of attacks. You can land like 3 or 4 hits every time that you have a window of opportunity against bosses. It's just tremendously fun, cool looking, and high damaging weapon. And one thing that I love about it is that it also has a very, like I mentioned, a very straightforward build. That being the case, we have 80 our dexterity, which is the hard cap. And because it's a very, very straightforward build, this is a weapon that you can reach the maximum potential at 150, because you have the hard cap right there, and then the Ash of War. By all means, if you want to spam it a little bit more, because it's very, very high damaging, so if you're like, if you do want to spam the Ash of War, you can have a little bit more points into mind in here. But I lean more forward into getting the extra damage of the Ash of War, and then taking advantage of that extra 160 AR total damage that you receive, and then you add the frostbite damage portion to your weapon. So vigor 60, mind 24, endurance 20, our strength, that's a consequence of my starting class, and then dexterity 80. And since it is a very straightforward build and it's not a stat hungry at all, we can have 15 faith to be able to use flame grant me strength and golden bow with a crystal tear. You cannot change the Ash of War, the dragon scale blades, but it has B scaling on dexterity. It has nearly 600 AR. It reaches 750 AR, which is nuts. By comparison, that's the AR that usually greatswords have once you imbue the weapon. So it's just tremendously powerful because of how fast it attacks. We have the mass missile, the shield, because it has a nice guard boost, and we're not focusing our strength right here, so we can't wield the very heavy strength shields that we have out there. As for the armor, remember, always use something that it's fashionable, that it kind of suits the playstyle that you're going for, but you also want to bypass that 51 poise threshold that we always want to bypass. So in this case scenario, you can do it with the Ronin armor, scale gauntlets. the Graves of Solitude, and then one extra little headpiece in here like the Commoner's Headband. This combination right here, as it is right here, it gives you exactly 51 points. So yeah, that's actually kind of nice. So the Talismans, Shadow Alexander, that's a must. A little bit of a must leaning into a recommendation, you have the Lightning Scorpion Charm. Yes, the weapon doesn't have native electric damage, doesn't have native lightning damage, and that 12% extra that you're going to get, it's more often than not going to be that amazing. As a matter of fact, it's just going to be like extra 20 points in damage, base damage, once you imbue the weapon, because it doesn't have a high AR when it comes to lightning. Not being it only has that 160. However, the Ash of War can deal 3 to 4k damage, so if you multiply that by 12%, that's actually kind of nice. But and if you do want to negate that extra damage that you'll take, you can use the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman, and then yeah, I mean, that's the combo that I like to run with this right here. And the Urtra's Favorite +2, I forgot to mention the armor that I'm using right here with the amount of endurance that we have right here to be able to medium roll. You do need the Urtra's Favorite +2. If you want to use something a little bit of a heavier armor, you can be using the Graveyard Arsenal, or if you not want to be using the Dragon Crest, the Turtle Talisman. This is just the only thing that I consider a mandatory thing is the Lightning Scorpion Charm and Shadow Alexander. The rest of the things that you have right here, you can toy run with them. Then we have the spells. Now, Flame grant me strength. Granted, we are missing out on that 20% extra fire damage, but it also has 20% extra physical damage. So you're getting flat 20% extra physical damage, which is actually kind of nice. It's even higher than the one that you would be getting with Golden Bow. Golden Bow is going to give you 15% more physical damage, and it also negates that extra damage that you would be taking with the Sacred Scorpion, with the Lightning Scorpion Charm. And the way to be able to cast Golden Bow, just by having 15 points into Fade, is using a Faith not Crystal Tear, because this raises your Fade in 10 points, meaning that you don't really have like 15 Faith, you have 25. Then the Lightning Shrouding Cracked Tear, which is going to increase by percentage the lightning damage that you deal. And do remember that this is more often than not aimed into increasing the Ash of War damage portion of our weapon, because remember that the AR, while it's not that bad, it really is not as good as, for example, something that would have like 300 AR into lightning as a base damage for the weapon, like a electric based weapon would have. But still, getting that extra 20% more damage from that 160 AR, it's kind of nice. And if you do want to use something different in here, by all means you can use something different. It's just that I always lean more into a little bit more extra damage. I love the replay value of Elden Ring, because you always have a different weapon that it feels completely different to anything out there that you have right there. The animation on this thing, it just looks delightful, it looks gorgeous. I love looking at this katana while it's imbued, because yes, it's like that white lightning, but it also seems to have that little bit of a snowy effect that you can notice while you're using the weapon. Those cones of whites and blue, that combination of colors while the weapon is glowing, and the design of the weapon, it's just tremendously gorgeous. As you attack, you also see those dashes of lightning as well, with the little extra sparks of white floating around. It looks graciously amazing, and it's high damaging. It's very versatile, and it's also very straightforward build that doesn't lock you out of anything else. So yeah, it's a very cool weapon to use. If you haven't used it, this is your perfect opportunity to use it and enjoy it as much as I have been doing so. Anyways, if you like the content, you liking the video, super appreciate it. And also, you today you're a gorgeous and beautiful person. You're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, you're in the Discord. Have a beautiful day and goodbye.